How are we doing? It's me, Ben Madsen, and it's time for this month's round of my tier list series. I wanted to wait until Season 9 dropped and the songs had a little bit of time for scores to get built up before I made these lists, since we've actually got 3 new extremes this month. 2 of them, Overdrive and Therapy, were the Tour Pass extremes from the Summer Days and UK Takeover seasons, but Godzilla was from the Eminem event, which is exciting. If you've seen my extreme tier lists in the past, you know the deal. I look at my friends list data to rank each song on both their clearing and scoring difficulty and then average those to get an overall rank. This time I'm making a slight tweak and highlighting when songs are especially near moving up or down a row, but I'll touch on that more in a few seconds. Starting as usual with the clearing list, we see that yet again Gangnam Style is all alone on the 1-star row. This song remains the outlier as easiest extreme to clear in the game, and I really hope they start pumping out more introductory extremes like this. The 2-star row also remains unchanged from last month, with Du Hast in the fast lane holding things down. Here's the first instance of my new little near feature, as you can see that Du Hast is very close to bumping up to the 3-star row. Du Hast is an early Journey song that has been around a long time, so I'm a little bit surprised to see this one moving much. The chart was reworked several months ago and made arguably a little bit tougher, but that's still relatively old news at this point. Still, just because it's on the easier end of extremes doesn't mean people aren't going to struggle with the dense patterns and relentless doubles. The 3-star row is massive as always and sees some action in August. First, we see This Is Where Overdrive and Therapy land, though both of those are currently on the very high end of the 3-star window. I suspect this may have a lot to do with these both being newer songs that players aren't as familiar with yet, and I think we'll see these both settle down into a more middle-of-the-road 3-star going forward. Firestarter, The Timing Nightmare, is flirting with dropping down to a 2-star for passing, which might initially strike you as odd, but I believe it makes sense. The song is awkward, but it's not as intense as most other extremes, and even if you can't get the timing down on it, chances are you can pass it relatively easily. The last change from this row can be seen as we unveil the 4-star row, as Raiden has bumped up to a low 4-star in terms of passing. I've always thought Raiden was underrated in terms of difficulty, and as more players are able to acquire this song, we're starting to get a better idea of where it belongs. Raiden as a 4-star makes sense to me, as I see it as a slightly faster and more intricate version of Stand Up Tall. Still, this one is just barely over the line, so it could go either way next month when we look at things again. Other than Raiden, the 4-star clearing row saw no changes. No One Knows, Party Hard, and Psyche are seeming to comfortably settle into their place here, and I doubt we'll see any of those move anytime soon. Finally, the 5-star row sees a new addition with Godzilla joining the other bruisers. Godzilla is a polarizing song, much like the other ones here. There's really nothing else like it in Beatstar right now, which can make getting used to it harder than normal. As you're probably aware, it's a very mild extreme until the final stage, which is just relentless 16th note streams for nearly 30 seconds straight. The closest you're going to get to this in Beatstar is the final stage solo in the Trooper, which is nowhere near as long and actually a little bit slower. It's so easy to get overwhelmed with this one, and do not feel bad at all if you cannot keep up with it yet. I believe an argument could be made for it being the hardest song to clear in the game, but that's heavily dependent on your personal skill set. Flipping the tables, let's move on to scoring. I feel like a broken record here, but Gangnam Style is still the overall easiest extreme to score on, and is most players' best extreme score a high percentage of the time. No changes in the 2-star row, with the only real movement being Sandstorm inching lower and lower. It's still not super close to Gangnam Style's numbers, but it's starting to separate from the rest of the 2 stars and may be deserving of a 1-star in the future. The 3-star row is again where Overdrive and Therapy land, though Therapy is at the lower end of the row this time. Like I mentioned with clearing, I expect scoring on both of these to improve as more players get familiar with them, and I think that more than likely Therapy will drop down a row next month. No other changes here, although Raiden is very slightly moving up in scoring rankings as well, but it's not in danger of row hopping just yet. Up to the 4 stars, we see This Is Where Godzilla ends up. There are some definite parallels with overall difficulty with Gimme Chocolate and Godzilla, both are very difficult to clear, but relatively easy to score on once you reach that glorious level of comfortability with them. However, as we've seen, it is difficult to reach that point, and the vast majority of players will of course not find Godzilla as consistently easy to score on as players who excel at that skill set like myself. Wasting no time, we also see the 5-star row has no changes this month. This means that 0 songs switched lanes in August, which is actually pretty cool. It means the scoring data here is feeling more and more accurate each month. Firestarter, No One Knows, and the Trooper remain the overall 3 toughest extremes to score on. Now that we've got all of our clearing and scoring numbers, let's mash them together and get an overall rank for each song. To absolutely no one's surprise, Gangnam Style is crying in its lonesome corner again in August as the only song on the 1-star row. Sooner or later we'll get another really easy extreme and it'll have some company, but until then, Psy's gonna be dancing alone up there. The 2-star row has no mix-ups this month at all, though it's a possibility we'll see Duhast and Sandstorm trade positions in September. Everything else here feels pretty solid. The 3-star row had the most changes this month. Overdrive and Therapy both land as 3.0s, but are likely to shift around a bit next month. For now, they're pretty mid-tier extremes that you may be particularly good or bad at. Raiden slid over from a 3.0 to a 3.5, which feels correct to me. Wynona's is still sitting at a high 3.5, and while I personally feel like a 4.0 may be a little more accurate for it, I'm not going to start arguing with the numbers. The 4-star row's only change is Godzilla landing at a 4.5, and I'm not sure I expect it to move from there. I think its 5-star clearing rank will remain intact, and I'm not sure it's going to drop to a 3 for scoring since it's just so intense for so many players. Everything else here feels correct to me, and Firestarter is the only one that's showing any potential for switching, but I'm not sure it will actually cross that line. Just like poor Psy on the 1-star row, our much less friendly looking Trooper continues to sit alone as a 5-star. For the 4th consecutive month since its introduction, it remains the clear outlier for extremes in an overall sense and has the worst scoring numbers of any song in the game. And there we have it, the completed August 2022 Extreme Tier List. Not a whole lot of shakeups this month, but I want to reiterate that that's a good thing as it indicates the data is consistent and accurate. We'll probably still see newer extremes bumping around a bit when they're introduced to the game, but otherwise I think all these ratings are fair and very near how I would personally rate each of these songs. The hard and normal tier lists might take me a few extra days to put together this time because we have a lot of new additions to those difficulties this month. Some of the rows on my charts are overflowing and I've got to do some restructuring to make everything fit and look pretty as usual. I'm really close to finishing up DP videos for every song and I'm so excited about it, so prepare to keep hearing me say it again and again. As of the time this video goes live, I have about 20 videos left to upload and I'm very much looking forward to working on some new kinds of content for the channel once they are all done. Special shout out to my Patreon donors and subscribers, but I appreciate every single view. Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you think about how these extreme tier lists are shaping up and what you think about the 3 new songs this month. Until next time, my friends, I'll see you on the internet.